Welcome to The Growth Shift, the podcast where we unlock the psychological and strategic blueprints of predictable growth. If you've built a successful business, you know the truth. Your expertise is high value, but your time is finite. The question is, how do you sustain that success without sacrificing your most valuable asset? We believe that the next level of success requires a strategic pivot, a fundamental shift that moves beyond the old ways. In every episode, we dive into the critical turning points of industry leaders and uncover how they're leveraging AI not as a shortcut, but as the strategic force for their next growth shift. Today, we dive in with a leader who is defining the future of their industry. This episode is brought to you by Valentix, your strategic growth partner. At Valentix, we believe that trust and authentic relationships are the only true currency in high-value business. We challenge the status quo by building an AI-powered client acquisition engine that enhances your human connection, helping you move beyond the slow growth of referrals. Our AI-powered systems eliminate the grind, allowing you to break through the noise, automate tasks, and free up your time to focus on transformative client impact. If that sounds like you, if you're ready to build a predictable growth engine, learn more at valentix.io. Now, let's dive into today's episode. Today on The Growth Shift, we're joined by Angela Lewis, the visionary founder of Savvy Designs. Angela's career is a fascinating blend of deep personal resilience and strategic business acumen, rooted in her lifelong experience in the hospitality industry and her pursuit of sustainable business strategies at Harvard. After navigating profound personal loss, Angela transformed her devastation into a mission, becoming the ultimate master connector who helps established entrepreneurs and executives build strong foundations and accelerate their journey. Her unique story will prove powerful for our audience. Angela, welcome to The Growth Shift.
Thank you for having me.
It's great to have you today. Now, Angela, your journey spans from working in the hospitality business since age 7 to pursuing sustainable business strategies at Harvard, culminating in founding Savvy Designs. Given your early experience in hospitality and your self-described role as a master connector, how did those foundational principles shape your unique approach to business today?
I've kind of got to the point where it's like, you know what, you kind of don't really ever meet a stranger. Because I started so young in the hospitality sector, it was always someone new that I was meeting, people that were older than me, wiser than me, had more experience because I was 7. But you had to be professional in those environments. You had to act like you've been in the room before, even though, you are growing up in this new thing, right? You're learning a new role every day. And I tend to use that now when it comes to networking. There's very few rooms that I squeeze myself out of, because sometimes you feel kind of overwhelmed and out of place in some places, especially if it's your first time. Then I think back, no, you can never meet a stranger. First impressions, it's not always the last impression. Just make a good one. And those are ways I get through those tough situations and, in business now. So even when I haven't met a client ever in life, someone referred them to me and I worked for them for years. You have to kind of get over the fact that it's new, or that they're new, or the process is new, or something that you're doing is new. You just get the job.
So you never meet a stranger, right? I mean, someone's only a stranger until you've said hello, until you've introduced yourself.
Absolutely.
Then on, they're a connection, right? They're no longer a stranger. So this is a realization you had pretty early on, right? From the young age of 7, being in a professional environment and, let's say making friends and making connections. From your experience and the amount of time you've been connecting with people, what would you say is the fundamental, most important aspect of making an initial connection and moving beyond that stranger status?
Please present yourself well. Have an intention when you walk into a room. So if you're going to the event, it could be, I need to speak to X amount of people, or I need to speak to a specific person. Or if you're in the room, you're not quite sure what's going on, listen. for the type of people that you're looking for. So you never know who can solve a problem that you have or might say something about a problem that you didn't know you have and they can solve it. So those are the people you want to connect to because now you have value you can either bring or a question that you can ask to empower or encourage that person.
I love that. A question you could ask to empower that person or encourage them, right? I mean, you want to be able to display value, display understanding, and show people that you're listening to them, hearing them, and you can actually you're seeing them right beyond just your own thoughts and your own desires. That's incredible. So, Angela, through your time in business and your own personal growth, what has been the most impactful shift or moment of realization that you've had? Because you've been through some times of hardship, and usually through times of hardship come the greatest strengths.
Now that I'm on the other side of the hardship, um, and I'm going back to things that I thought was new. On LinkedIn, I went to click on something about speaking, and I actually signed up for it in 2022. I decided to do that then, but through a very sudden loss, I kind of lost myself for a couple of years, and it hit every aspect of my life, and I didn't realize how much it had affected me until I got out of it. And I thought, wow, it was so many things that I stopped because I wasn't prepared for this thing that happened. And now that I'm going back and checking off the boxes, it's like, okay, I'm on the right track. I veered off a little bit and everything's okay. All right, let's go in full force, full motion, take as many people along with me as I can, grow as much as I can, learn as much as I can, and then take it back to those who don't know yet and empower and encourage them. Equip them with the thing that, even though tragedy happens, even though um, things in your business happen, it's okay. It's a part of the refinement process that we go through to become who we are.
Mm-hmm. No one, of course, can prepare themselves for tragedy or for extreme loss. In your situation, in hindsight, with the growth that you made as a result of your experiences, right, and having these realizations after the tragedy you experienced, what do you think is the best thing any business owner can do to not prepare themselves, but perhaps equip themselves and ready themselves to deal with potential tragedy or loss that may come at any time?
Always protect yourself. Put protections in place. If you do, whether it is a birth of a child, a loss of a loved one, a hit to your business, a separation from a partner in a JV circumstance, always have protections in place. Have insurances. Have someone that can back you in case something happened. Have funds in place. Because shift happens, right? And you have to move your gaze to different directions. And it's not always on the thing that you're doing. So my things always, always, always have protections in place. For me, I was basically going through life. I was not present. And I was just checking off boxes because I knew that was the thing that needs to be done. Had I put things in place, and it's not like I didn't know, I just didn't, because I didn't think shift would happen, right? I was going along, trudging along, everything was fantastic. And you wake up one day to help and serve someone else, and the same exact thing happens to you a couple of days later, kind of throws you for a loop. So,
Yeah.
but if you do, make sure, again, you have insurances in place, you have policies in place, you have people in place. And in that shift, give yourself grace.
So it sounds like a lot of this is rooted in clarity, right? Clarity in your current life, awareness of your situation, being present, whether it's your business, your life, your thoughts, or anything else. As I understand it, with Savvy Designs, you work with established entrepreneurs and corporate executives to help them with ideation, execution, and delegation. But a lot of this is focused on clarity, right? Clarity in thoughts, clarity in business. Can you talk us through what your work looks like today and, the focus that you have in your business?
So I have an amazing coach, and he's not actually a coach. He's more of a strategic momentum accelerator. His name is Dan McPherson. He is one of the very few people that has able to help my complex mind get to where I'm going. And the first thing he always tells you to do is to get the calm first, and then there's clarity. Because in the chaos, you need to slow down, take a breath, observe, see if this is something that you do need to press upon, you need to get it done, and or delegate. In the ideation creation, execution, and delegation part, this gives you a bird's eye view of what you're doing. Great that you can do it, but do you need to do it? Can someone else do it? Is it going to accelerate your zone of genius? Things we need to look at, because if we don't have clarity, we are not able to help other people know what you do, right? You can't have someone come and help you in your business if you don't know what you're doing. Having just those 4 frameworks helps you make a decision faster. And then I also have a framework that goes in between there, is to do it now. And if you can't do it right now, it's not worth doing. So just put it on a list. But if you can take 5 to 30 seconds to get it done, that's an email, that's a phone call, because sometimes people might not answer, right? So you can make 10 phone calls in 3 to 5 minutes and decide, okay, do I need to follow up again? Do I need to write this down? Does this need to be an email? These are really quick ways to figure out, how to do tasks, how to accelerate pretty fast, and how to teach others how to do what you do.
Finding calm in chaos to get to clarity. This is really interesting. Do you have any specific stories that you could share with us about how it is that you came in and worked with a client and just display how this played out and the result that it drove?
Everyone's chaos is different, right? Some people have calm chaos. Some people have chaotic chaos. I just experienced this recently with a person I was doing an event with, and they were spiraling. And it's like, wait, we've been up for like 3 days. You have jet lag. I have jet lag. Let's take a break. Do this in the morning. And the thing that you're probably stressing about is not the thing that we need to worry about. So in the morning, it was done. I really didn't need to do that thing. Exactly. Sometimes, again, you need to take a break, reassess, and start again.
So this is an example of, a recent experience as part of an event that you were hosting. Do you have any stories as well of any clients that you've worked with that you might be able to display how this played out with them and, really the impact that it had on their business?
I had a client who wanted to do a rental, like an Airbnb, and it was more of a procrastination chaos that was going on. Yes, I have all of these things to do. And all of those things weren't getting done. So I came and met them in person and helped them get clarity. It was, okay, I see these things. How can I help realign this person without giving them a to-do list? So with that, we got outside of the property. I took them on a field trip. We found some things that will enhance the house, and this is how the list got done. So one of the things was lighting. There was lighting, they called a chandelier on the floor, but there was one that was sitting in the house that's been there since the house was done. I said, how long does it take you to do a chandelier? Oh, it takes me about 10, 15 minutes. I said, okay, so if I help you, how long will it take? Oh, about 5 to 7 minutes. I said, so before dinner is done, will we have beautiful lighting? Yeah, absolutely. And it was one of those things like, oh, if I would have slowed down, I would have realized I could have checked this off in my box a while ago. Fast forward, he called me a week or 2 later and said, hey, I have 5 requests for my Airbnb. It's because that list got going and it was things that that needed to get done, but they're now tasks that I get to do, not tasks I need to do.
So with the clients that you work with, there's a lot of chaos in business. What needs to be done? When should it be done? How should it be done? And all of these things. So what you really do is you come in and work with people to find that state of calm, take a step back, look at the larger picture, and then be able to break down the clarity as to, what needs to happen and in what time frame. So it almost sounds like rather than just, equipping people with checklists or allowing people to try and accomplish their things with checklists, it's being able to slow down and realize what has to be done, how can it be done, what time frame can it be done in, and then helping them accelerate and move faster as a result of that clarity that they found through the calm.
Absolutely. But one of the things that I pride myself with, and I'm very grateful that I was able to homeschool, it gave me a lot of patience, number one, but it also taught me how to learn how others learn. So I don't take for granted that, everybody's business is the same, everyone is the same. I listen to you, I process the things that you are trying to process, And though you might think it's a lot for me, I'm literally putting them in order for you to see the thing, and then explain it to you in a way where you give yourself clarity. I don't give it to you.
So Angela, if we shift gears here a little bit, you are a master connector, right? Building relationships and connections is something that comes easily and naturally to you, as it does with many coaches. But when it comes to, or the growth aspect of business, master connectors and great relationship builders often grow their business based on referrals because of the quality of relationships and the trust that they build. But it can be a bit of a crutch, right? When you're great at building relationships and you grow through referrals, it's hard to get out of that state of, referral dependency, we could say. A lot of coaches and consultants today are trying to break out of that, right? Trying to be a little bit more systematic and direct with how it is they acquire clients. But in today's environment, it's incredibly crowded, it's incredibly noisy, and it's even more difficult to build trust with prospective clients if you can't connect with them for that initial conversation. From your perspective, when it comes to growing business and growing a coaching business such as yours, what are you observing and witnessing in the market today when it comes to client acquisition beyond referrals?
It's been my business model simply because it's a warm lead instead of a cold lead. Let's say LinkedIn, for example. I use that to enhance my clients. It's not necessarily for me. So I always bring value when I am talking to someone in a private message. When it comes to meeting people in person, I always bring value. So for me, it's more about what I can bring to the table and the relationship that I can create with you versus me getting more leads and it's only a transaction. It's like dating for me. I'm in here for the long run. So I don't want to just, have your phone number. I actually want to build something with you. So having referrals is the better way for me because that's extending the relationship that I have with the people that I'm already working with.
A lot of coaches and consultants whose businesses are grown on referrals and that's their primary strategy still find a lot of success in speaking engagements and in networking at events and being in person so they can do exactly what you said, right? Build trust, display value, show how it is that they can help before perhaps asking for something in return. But if we look at the challenges that come with that as well, and maybe this is something that will be a little bit more relatable to your situation, right? Going to speaking engagements, going to events, you know that you can show up and you know what you can do, right? But it's hard to know who else is going to be there. There can be a lot of people out there just for themselves and maybe not necessarily looking to build connections that they need for, their purposes, but more so for their business purposes, if that makes sense, right? People go to events looking to make money for themselves, to summarize that. So with this shift in events and such being a little bit more crowded and perhaps there being less opportunity, but still good opportunity within them. When you go to events yourself for networking purposes to meet people and display your value, how do you go about perhaps sifting through the noise and the people at events who might not necessarily be good people for you to build connections with?
So the difference with me and most people is like connecting as my gift. So I have a great gift of discernment, um, vibes, etc. I can feel all of those things. So for me, if I was giving someone else advice, I would say, again, listen to conversations, see where you can fit in. Then that makes it an easier introduction.
How do you find the most success if you're in a room full of 100 people and maybe only 2 people there would, I don't want to say be worth your time because all connections and all conversations can lead to something valuable. But let's say, for the sake of the audience, if you were going to an event and you wanted to come out of that event with a client, how would you sift through that 2% in the room, or how would you identify, who you should be really spending the time building relationships with?
So I attract business owners. I attract a certain type of people. So I'm looking for that person, whether it's the way they carry themselves, whether the conversation is leading to somewhere, whether they are storytellers or they are authentic to who they are and what they do. Kind of want to listen for those things. Are they selling me? Are they trying to sell me something? Or are they trying to navigate me into a certain funnel to solve a problem? Those are the things that you can kind of strategically look for. And or if you are going for your business, listening or looking for people who will be your ideal client is what you should identify, if you possibly can, before you go into that room, meaning the whole room is your target audience. One of the things people do, they say who they are, not what they do or what their title is. And that tells you how much clarity they have, and that can give you an idea of where they are in their business. If it takes them longer than 30 seconds to say what they do, that tells you where they are in your business, and that's another way that you can see if that's a person for you.
I love this. This is almost like a throwback to the time when you were 7, starting out in business and learning it's the non-verbal that's almost more powerful than the verbal at times, right? How you present yourself, how prospective clients or new connections are presenting themselves, and reading between the lines with how they communicate as well. Are they storytellers? Are they trying to pitch you an idea or take you down a funnel? Or are they not fully clear on where they're at right now? So I love all of those points, Angela. Very insightful for the audience. So when we look at your ability to build relationships and as a master connector, businesses today should still be grown in the same way. Focus on relationships. People at the end of the day are what business is about and for, and who business is driven by. When we look at what's happening in today's market with the revolution, the AI revolution that we're all facing right now and going down, a lot of people are starting to perhaps lean on technology and use AI in ways that can damage relationships, right? Trying to remove the human element from the business and from the picture itself. When it comes to AI for yourself, where do you start to use AI that allows you to further enhance your ability to build relationships rather than detract from really what's important?
I use it to research. Some people use it like Google. I use it to prompt. I don't use it to speak for me in any way, shape, or form. So even when I wrote my book, I used it to research my ideas, not my thoughts, if that gives you a little bit more clarity. I don't want it to speak for me. I don't want it to be me. I use it to stop me from going down rabbit holes because I have thoughts upon thoughts, but not all of them I get answers to myself immediately. And if I know I'm going in in a certain directions, then I would use AI to almost autocorrect me and my idea.
So it sounds like AI is less of a starting point for you and more of an end point, right? You don't want
Right.
AI to be formulating your ideas and how you're thinking, but you're
No.
using it to enhance what it is you're doing and bring perspectives and insights on the areas that perhaps aren't your strengths, let's say, whether it's editing and fact checking and all of these things, or things you don't have time for. So by doing this, it allows you to focus on your strengths and what's truly valuable to you and your clients, while also providing you with that little bit of extra edge or that little extra synergy that can take you further.
Absolutely. And I do my best in not feeding the machine as much as I possibly can because we are all uniquely ourselves, right? So having a personal brand and a personal identity is what's going to get you the best results in this new quote unquote age that we're going through of AI. And if you get in front of it, you'll be okay. However, if you are putting all of your thoughts, all of your ideas, even your secrets, your mental thoughts, it could be something damaging like depression or suicide. All of these things are being captured in this database and it can and will be used against you later. So you have to be very careful. Do not put any IP in there. Do not put any identifying things like your social security number of people have, their address and things like that to do proximity. Be very careful with that because again, it can be used against you.
So then with that in mind, how do you advise leaders to use AI to accelerate their thoughts without losing their clarity, their authenticity, and their personal ownership required for genuine leadership?
You speak around your ideas. You don't speak to or about the ideas. Even if you're doing an event, you speak around the event. You don't have to say exactly what it is, exactly what you're doing. You already know the idea, so you can expound upon it. Use it as inspiration, not authorization. right? You don't want it to be you. You might want to use it to shorten your task or find tasks that are keeping you out of your zone of genius. But again, as long as you don't clone yourself, unless that's something that you want to do, be mindful about that, because just like a lot of these jobs that are for people in the creative space that are being created through AI, be careful, because you as a painter or a artist in another way can be quote unquote replaced as well if you do not have a personal identity.
Mm. Oh, I like this very much. Speaking to AI around your ideas, right? Because this allows you to validate your thinking and perhaps look at, and hear different perspectives to know that, yeah, you're moving in the right direction, but you can further refine your ideas through seeing a broader perspective, perhaps angles that you haven't thought of before. Whereas AI can provide a lot of ideas, they're generally not fully formed and they're not really what they could be from an expert's position.
Absolutely. Even if you program it. So you have to be very careful. It's there to solve a problem. It's zeros and ones. So it's only so much that it can do now. But if you continue to feed the machine, it can only grow and eventually replace you. The only thing is the human mind is a complex mind. And if you continue to grow, educate yourself, equip yourself, then you can stay in front of what they say is inevitable.
Angela, your story covers profound challenges and loss, a commitment to building strong foundations, and a focus on accelerating professional journeys. For the founders, coaches, and growth-minded listeners who are striving to build a resilient business and accelerate their impact, what's the single most important piece of advice you'd leave them with about building a strong foundation and accelerating their own journey?
We'll say promote, promote, promote. No one's going to knock on your door and ask you for the thing that you created that solved the problem that they didn't know that they have. So always promote, always sell. If you have a website, direct people there. It's all about the customer journey. And if you don't create one, you won't have one.
Angela, thank you so much for sharing your story, your insights, and your advice with the audience today. For anyone listening who might like to learn more about what you're doing or just connect with you personally, what would be the best way to find you?
There are two ways. If you are starting your business or you're in the middle of a pivot, or if you need brand and design help, you can find me at savvydesigns.info or at the Pink Elephant Solutions.com. And those are for C-suite, Fortune 500 executives that are looking to be change makers. And they're looking to innovate, ideate, and allow me to facilitate that ideation for them. And you can also find me on LinkedIn as the real Angela Lewis and most social media platforms.
Angela, thank you again for joining us on the Growth Shift today.
Thank you for having me.
Another powerful conversation on the Growth Shift. If you, like our guests, are ready to turn your expertise into a predictable, scalable growth engine, one that eliminates the grind of prospecting and enhances your high-value relationships, then it's time to connect with Valentix. We are not a marketing agency. We are your strategic growth partner, building intelligent systems that ensure your client acquisition is predictable, not dependent on chance. To see how our AI-powered frameworks can free up your time and fill your calendar with decision makers, visit valentix.io. Thank you for joining us on the Growth Shift. We'll see you next time.